From Cleveland's most accurate weather team, this is 19 First Alert Plus. Sponsored by the man that makes them pay, Tim Misney.
And good morning, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now. It is a First Alert weather day. It continues to be a First Alert weather day. It started yesterday. You probably like me, may have gotten woken up last night by some of these storms. You can see in the lower corner, I guess it's this corner over here, that it's 60 degrees currently. That is going to change rather rapidly throughout the day, even though there is a lot of sunshine. This is a live look into Akron. Look how quickly those clouds are moving. That gives you a very good indication that we've got a lot of wind, and that's exactly what the First Alert weather day is today. Kelly, first of all, remind our viewers, why do we issue First Alert weather days?
Yeah, and this is a really unique situation for today's alert day, Dan, because there are multiple parts to this alert day. We really just made it through the last round, which was that threat of severe weather overnight and this morning. We had storms rolling through this morning, and now the threat's changing into crashing temperatures and wind. But to go back to your question, an alert day is what we issue here. The 19 First Alert Weather Team issues alert days to give you the heads up, to prepare you, to give you that first alert, to let you know, hey, the weather is going to impact your day. And this alert day is really just all of the seasons wrapped up into one. So I'm going to start with what happened this morning and follow into why we're going to be dealing with gusty winds this afternoon and what we're looking like through the rest of the day. So right now I've got the First Alert Doppler radar pulled up on my screen here just to show you we had the storms come through this morning. Again, a lot of rumblers, a lot of lightning, a lot of bouts of heavy rain, but the majority of the severe storms stayed south of our area. There was a little bit more storm energy to work with. The warm air advection kept a lot of that energy through portions of Columbus, and that's where we saw actually a confirmed tornado on the ground this morning just outside the metro area of Columbus. I've seen some reports from Madison County, which is just to the west of Columbus, and the Dayton area that they do have some damage. So that's where we did see the storms that fired up those tornadoes that we were watching for. They stayed just to the south of our area. We did have a gnarly line of storms come through south of US 30 through Holmes and Tuscarawas County, but they ended up not being severe, just under those limits, still 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts. So we have this big line of storms coming through. This is a cold front that's pushing in. And just to solidify with you, to show you that it's a cold front, let me show you the temperature tracker right now. Can you find it? Do you see the temperature tracker? Do you see the cold front on the map without anything labeled? It's pretty easy to spot. That big blue line of cold air is what helped trigger all those storms. So we had warm temperatures in the 70s yesterday and a big cold air mass coming in and colliding. So when you get a cold front coming in with all that warm air around, the mass of those air masses colliding can create a gusty wind situation, which is why we're moving into the next part of our alert day, which is a wind advisory that's in effect through this evening. So winds are going to start picking up this afternoon. I'll show you the wind gust tracker in a moment, but look what is not too far behind. We're in the 60s right now in Cleveland. We dropped into the 40s in Cincinnati within the last hour. It's 22 degrees in Chicago. They also had temps in the 60s, near 70 yesterday, and severe weather. So a big blast of cold air is going to crash temperatures this afternoon. By lunchtime, we're going to be sitting in the 30s and 40s. So just 2 hours from now, we're talking about a massive difference. So the easy way to track this cold front coming through our area a little bit more locally, we can look at a couple of different things. Obviously, the temperature. Look at the contrast right now between Cleveland and Sandusky. The front's already moved through. Toledo is in the low 40s. So that's number one. Number two is looking at the wind direction and the wind speed. So look at the winds really starting to increase from the west. Sandusky, these are sustained winds, not wind gusts. So we're seeing a wind sustained 25 miles an hour, 15 to 25 from Lorain to Mansfield. So we've got this cold front coming through, and what it's going to do is bring very chilly temperatures and very windy conditions through the afternoon. So let's get to that wind gust tracker here. That timestamp's in the top left-hand corner of your screen. This is lunchtime. These are wind gusts, gusting close to 40, over 40 even in portions of Ashtabula through the afternoon hour. So this is 3, 4 o'clock. This is where we're expecting the gustiest winds. Think after lunchtime. So as the kiddos are coming home from school, walking home from school, hopefully mom and dad, you put the winter coat in the backpack because they probably were wearing short sleeves this morning because it was in the low to mid 60s when a lot of the kiddos were heading out the door. And by this afternoon, we're going to have a wind chill. Temps are going to be in the 40s, dropping into the 30s with 40 mile an hour wind gusts. so it's going to be cold. In terms of power outages or anything like that, we didn't see too many of those this morning, but anywhere we saw a lot of heavy rain in a short amount of time, there is some saturated areas with a 40-50 mile an hour wind gust. We might see a tree or two topple over that could lead to spotty power outages through the afternoon and evening. Now, we will stay breezy through overnight even after the wind advisory ends, so just expect breezier conditions and colder conditions through the afternoon. Here's what I'm talking about. This is 1 o'clock. Look at, we've got 30s on the board just a couple of hours from now. A big difference. And then when you get a big blast of cold air moving in a totally open Lake Erie, you're setting up for the potential for some lake effect snow. Now, most of it's going to be just a few flakes flying this evening. We're not talking about anything measurable, no storms or anything like that, but what a difference from yesterday where we were 70, 71, and now we're talking about 20s and snowflakes by this evening, Dan.
And Kelly, I know most people aren't weather curious like you and I, but this is one of those days when that front comes through. Granted, we're working and we're inside, but if you were standing outside, I'm assuming you're going to be able to feel the exact moment that front comes in.
Yeah, you're gonna get a big gust of wind. In Sandusky, we recorded an over 30, I think it was 35 mile an hour wind gust. You're gonna feel that big gust of wind, and we can watch those wind gusts here. Let me pull up the lakeshore wind gust. So notice we're starting 35 mile an hour in Sandusky, 25. So when we get that big gust coming in, that's when you're going to notice the temperature starting to drop behind it. That's that front coming through.
And Kelly, I want to show the Akron live picture again, where just a minute ago there were just a couple of clouds. Look at the picture now and look at how quickly those clouds have rolled in. They're moving at a good clip.
Cold front coming over.
That is the cold front. We caught it here live on camera. That's pretty cool. Again, Kelly and I are weather curious, or a little bit on the weather nerd side, so this has actually been kind of fascinating. We're going to take a 15-second pause, and that's about the length of time we're going to have cold weather. Just a real quick pause, and we'll get to the conditions for the rest of the week because it will improve if we can just get through the next 24 hours.
I've represented families just like yours for over 4 decades. Listen, if you need me, call me. You know I'll be there for you, and I'll make them pay. In the meantime, I'll keep an eye out for you.
And keep an eye on the 7-day forecast. That blue arrow is what we're going through right now. And again, just get through these next 24, 48 hours. Kelly, walk us through it.
Yeah, so temperatures plummeting this afternoon. Again, couple of snowflakes. Windy conditions will be around. It'll still be breezy tomorrow morning. Colder tomorrow, only highs in the 30s, but we'll have sunshine. And then you mentioned, Dan, the changes are already coming as we head into March. So Friday, we're back in the 50s. This weekend, we're near 60. We'll have a little bit more cloud cover around the start of the weekend. A mix of sun and clouds Sunday, back in the mid to upper 60s. There is another 70 on the board. So we hit 70 for the first time this year yesterday, and there's a potential for us to do it again early next week. That'll come with another big temperature dip. It's not going to be as dramatic as the one that we saw are experiencing right now, but definitely a lot of ups and downs again, and still not looking like any big shot of winter-like weather. Again, meteorological spring starts on Friday, March 1st. That's how meteorologists, climatologists, any scientist keeps weather data. We keep that in those 3-month increments. So technically, spring starts Friday for us, and it's looking pretty spring-like as we head into early next week.
And Kelly, you just kind of said you don't see anything in the near future, any big winter shot. I'm not going to put you on the spot here. I think it's way too early to say, are we done with winter? But what are you seeing 1-2 weeks out?
I'm glad you asked, Dan, because Jeff Tanchek actually did a full explainer on what we're expecting over the next few weeks. But you got to tune in to First Alert Focus tonight to learn more about what we're expecting in terms of, are we done with winter as we head into March, or are we going to be seeing another blast of cold air? So 7:30 on the CW43, he breaks it all down for us.
And I know folks at home aren't going to believe me, but I did not throw that softball up to Kelly.
You set me up.
That's just literally me being curious, because here we are meteorologically, the first day of spring is on the map, and the whole weather team, if you've never seen this show, wow, it is packed full of information weather-wise that you're going to use. It's the only half-hour weather program in the entire city of Cleveland in our market. 7:30 CW43. It is incredibly informative. And like Kelly said, if you're curious, are we done with winter? Jeff Tanchek, he's such an incredible resource. He'll plan out what they're looking and what they're seeing a couple of weeks out. We know it's Northeast Ohio. We know we've had April baseball with snow. We've had Easter with snow. So nobody is saying we're completely done, but boy, with every day that ticks off, with every 71-degree day, we're sure a little bit closer to getting to the end. 19 First Alert meteorologist Kelly Doback, thanks for checking in.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, take care. Again, just a very interesting winter weather system that we are seeing right now. Look at Akron. We know that temperature is probably dropping by the degree almost every couple of minutes. With the clouds now rolling in, that cold front has reached Akron, has not quite reached Cleveland yet, but it will be soon. It still says 60 degrees on that little clicker there. So we'll keep an eye on it. It is going to be a massive, massive change from what we were at this morning. And like Kelly said, by 1 o'clock this afternoon, we could be looking at temperatures in the 40s and 30s. And that's not that far away, just a couple of hours. So Northeast Ohio in for a big shot of wind and cold air moving in. Make sure you tune in to our 11 o'clock news on CW43. That's an hour away. We'll have even more updated information on the forecast as well as our noon news on Channel 19. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere.